Have you ever been to a sound check before a concert? There's lots of instruments that sound like they're not quite ready. They're not in tune. You hear a lot of check, 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 check. It's kind of what the Rangers are doing this week. It's sound check week in spring training. We talk about it next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Every team needs a little fine-tuning this time of year, and certainly that's what the Rangers are going through. It's just the final details before they strike up this orchestra that is a 162-game season, and hopefully for the Rangers, quite a few more than that in the postseason. Hi there. Welcome into the DLLS Sports Studios, and welcome to the DLLS Rangers podcast. John Radigan here. That's Jeff Wilson, not out in the sun today, and I know he's not happy about that, but things happen. He had to be in a booth today. We got the prophet over here, Elijah and I, and Jeff too. We're in a meeting just before the show, so we're brimming with ideas and thoughts, and we want to share them all with you. Make sure you chat with us and like us and subscribe to us, right? Do all those things we like you to do. Jeff, why are you inside? It's a beautiful day, for God's sake.
It really is. We have the weekly show coming up next, and so we're gonna have Ross Fenstermaker on, unless something has come up. But I'm giving him the option of coming in here with me. Um, so I just figured it would be better. But he may end up doing it in his office. So anyway, I had to be prepared, John.
I
Quick
got you.
turnaround.
No,
Quick turnaround.
see,
Yeah.
yeah, that's part of the whole thing we were talking about too in the meeting beforehand. So excellent, good work, good preparation. That's exactly what the Rangers are going through right now. The final preparation as they get ready for this season, and it's interesting, Jeff, in that for Jacob deGrom, one of his final spring tune-ups is, I guess, penultimate spring tune-up. Was only his second Cactus League game.
Yeah, but he got through 4 innings, 57 pitches, so that's good. He'll get up to 75 in his next start, and be ready to keep going from there. And I guess he'll have the capability to go deeper and deeper into games. It's just with the Rangers' plan for him, will they allow him to go, let's say 7 innings or 100 pitches? Probably not in April, would be my guess. But he's such a perfectionist, and he's so good. He's at the top of the list. So what looks like maybe a disappointing outing, and it was for him. It was still 2 runs in in uh, in 4 innings. He was super efficient. He made pitches when he needed to. And it just was, it was good. Now it's not Jacob. It wasn't Jacob deGrom good. His mechanics weren't right, and so he wasn't throwing as hard as he would have liked to. But gosh, it's amazing. I had this thought. Emerson Hancock was pitching for the Mariners, and he's one of their young prospects, and going to be a good pitcher. And he would go in there, and there's a little effort in his delivery, and his fastball was zipping in there, and it looked, I'd look at the radar gun or whatever, it'd be like 94. And then Jacob would go out there and just kind of go through his delivery, and it looked like it was floating in, and it was like 96. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just so amazing. This guy, effortless, and he said, he could have stepped on it more, but with his mechanics out of whack, he didn't want to. So that's how good he is. That's what he can feel. A little surprising he didn't make the adjustment, but whatever. He's going to be fine. And the important thing, no matter what people think about his velocity or how many curveballs he threw or that he didn't throw a changeup or anything like that, Jacob deGrom is healthy and he's in a good mood, and that's all that matters with him right now.
Yeah, and really, it was the first words that he uttered during his post-game interview with you guys, Jeff, was, well, I'm healthy. That's the main thing, right? I feel great.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. And it really is. Look, you're going to have, I kind of look at it like, we're talking two different levels of, the spectrum or ends of the spectrum with regard to their career trajectory. But I think that's what happened to Jack Leiter in his last outing, right? He just had one of those games where he just wasn't quite right. And you're always going to have those. Nobody knows that better than Jacob. And the truth be told, he gives up a couple of runs. In that instance, Jeff, you've still given your team a chance to win that ball game.
100%. And again, his bad ones, guys would take 9 out of 10 times. It's ridiculous how good his bad ones are. And you know, but this is, it is still spring training, and you are still seeing guys do stuff that they may not ordinarily do. Jacob deGrom yesterday threw back-to-back curveballs. Well, he hasn't thrown a curveball in the game in a few years. I mean,
Yeah.
just stuff like that. And he threw a 3-2 slider that got hit for a home run. Well, is that what he would have done 3-2 during the regular season? And so you can look at the results, and if anybody wants to worry for some reason, don't. He's fine, and of course he's going to be very, very good when he does get into the rotation, which is looking like it'll be the fourth game of the regular season to close out that series against the Red Sox, the Sunday game.
Yeah, it's pretty
So
cool that
uh,
he'll pitch the
yeah.
finale of the homestand and the finale, of that first series of the season at home. So you can mark your calendars for that one, everybody, and make sure. Obviously, you want to have tickets to opening day, but closing day of that series could be a big one too. It's interesting with Jacob too, Jeff, where he just seemed annoyed, and I think I read he hadn't given up a home run in spring training in like 4 years, and he seemed annoyed by it, like he's set his own bar, but he's set it so high you can't always get there, especially in spring training.
Yeah, he allowed a home run last year in one of the sim games as he was rehabbing, and he was pissed. All right, I mean, there's no other way to talk about it. I mean, he was very upset, and it's everybody knows where he's at. Everybody knows he's coming back from Tommy John, and but that's behind him now, and so yeah, he after we talked to him, and it was fairly soon after he left the game. Um, he wasn't mad anymore, but he had a very good breakdown of where he was and why it wasn't clicking. And he's got a bullpen here in a couple days before the team heads out. And then yeah, he'll start the Tuesday game. There's a game Tuesday at Globe Life Field, a day game against the Royals. So he'll start that. That'll be his tune-up and final spring start. Try to get to 75 pitches, and then it'll be go time. And I've said it throughout the offseason. I'm very excited to see what Jacob deGrom looks like over the course of hopefully 25 starts. I mean, hopefully 30, but I don't think the Rangers are going to let him do that. But I want to see it for myself. He was in the other league, then he came over here, and it didn't last long. So I want to see it. I want a full season of Jacob deGrom starts, and if that
Yeah,
means he's only throwing 97, okay. If that means he's out after 5 innings, that's fine. They're going to be really, really good innings, and he's going to give the Rangers a chance to win pretty much every
yeah.
time out.
So he went 57 pitches last night. 36 of those were thrown for strikes, but you think the pitch count 75 Tuesday? That's at least the target.
Yeah, 70 to 75. And get into the fifth inning. Got to get those up in, John, um, and then for sure for that Red Sox start, he would be able to go five, maybe six. He can pitch so efficiently. It's crazy. He had an inning yesterday where he only threw 9 pitches, but he gave up a hit. Well, runner got on base, and he threw a double play grounder. It's just he can just do what he wants out there. It seems like, even when his stuff's not, his mechanics aren't where he wants them. So I have Jacob deGrom well down my list of worries at this point
Yeah.
in spring training.
Yeah, another guy it seems that we needn't worry about is the other best player on the team. That would be Corey Seager, who we kind of knew. We've said it a couple of times on the show, Jeff. This is just his process. He's going through a spring training process, and it appears that within that process, it was like on day whatever 28 or however long they've been there. Let's start hitting home runs, And so he just hauled off and hit one yesterday.
Yeah, he's everybody's got to find their timing and all of that stuff, and he's still a free swinging guy. If it's a pitch that he thinks he can clobber, he's gonna take a swing. The home run came on an 0-2 count, so he's dangerous in any count. But one thing that's kind of stood out, I think, while he has, I think, 2 home runs now this spring, he's walked 9 times. Now that might be a byproduct of starters not being sharp, but that is an indication that he is seeing the ball well. Now he's also struck out 10 times, so maybe that means his timing's not quite there yet. But at least he's seeing it, and if teams are not going to throw him strikes, then he has to realize that it's okay to pass the baton. This lineup in theory is going to be full of guys with 20 and 30 home run capability, and including Wyatt Langford. Excuse me, Wyatt Langford right behind him. So it's okay if you take a walk. So I think that's a pretty interesting number for Corey this spring, is the 9 walks.
Yep, that's awesome, and that's great to know, and it's great to see, and we'll look forward to seeing so much more of it. I want to talk with Jeff a little bit more about how it appears that the batting order continues to shake out. We've talked that almost every day. We'll talk it more next. Also, let's talk about the bullpen. One of the causes of great concern at the beginning of spring training. Are we still concerned? Coming up next on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the NCAA tournament started today.
Yeah.
If you are the sporting kind, you can go over to Sleeper and go ahead and make some daily picks on these tournament games. Sleeper, we know them for their fantasy stuff. I actually didn't know them at all, but I now know them for daily picks. And while not available in Arizona, they are in the great state of Texas, and I have availed myself to them almost on a daily basis. You can do it for as little as $1. $1 will get you some action, if you will. What you do is you choose whether a player will have more or less in a certain category. Oftentimes it's points. NBA, it's all kinds of stuff. It's just fun, and baseball season's coming, and I can't wait to roll out my skills and test my knowledge. So download the Sleeper app, use the code DLLS Rangers, and you can get up to $100 on a first match deposit.
Yeah, and download the Game Time app too, because the Game Time app will be your friend. Once you do, you download the Game Time app. Of course, as most apps do, it'll ask you for your email. And then not only will Game Time be your friend, but Nicole from Game Time will be your friend. So you got to go. You got to get tickets from Game Time. And then you and Nicole, me and Nicole, we've become buddies. And she emails me all the time to let me know what's coming here. And I want you to do the same thing, because it really helps you know what's happening in the market. Not just sports, although, the NCAA women's basketball tournament is coming here. You get tickets for that on Game Time. You can get tickets for any of the sporting events around here on Game Time. And you can get tickets to concerts and shows, even shows over at Trees. Anything in Deep Ellum, they've got it. Game Time has it all. Price guarantee, and you need to get yourself Game Time and get $20 off your first purchase with the code DLLS. So, Jeff, we saw Wyatt Langford again in that 3 spot in the batting order. Does it feel like, we talk all the time about how Boch, I think, in most old school managers, Boch in particular, and players love some certainty in that lineup. Now, things being what they are in the game today, you're just not going to have 1 through 9 or 1 through 8 or even 1 through 7 exactly the same every single day. You've got lefty-righty matchups. You've got, certain things to consider there, but platoon situations, all of it. But do we think maybe the top 4, 5 in the order are going to be pretty set, and that Wyatt Langford will be in that 3 spot?
I would say against right-handed pitchers for sure. What we've seen the last, I don't know if we saw it yesterday, but what the lineup that was rolled out there Tuesday: Simeon, Seager, Langford, Pederson, Garcia. That looks like it's pretty much ironclad. And then beyond that, it was Josh Young, Evan Carter, Jake Berger eighth, and then John Hyde. And there are a lot of reasons for it. Why not back Carter ninth? Well, if you do that, you're going to have left, right, left, because Simeon and Seager will follow. And so that's 2 um, left-handers. So it makes it a little easier for teams to manage the bullpen. Whereas if he's you know, let's say he's eighth. Well, you still have to get through through a couple right-handers before you get to another left-hander. So little things like that get into the manager's mind, and they like him, Carter, in that 7th spot because he's fast. And so if he's ahead of Jake Berger, well, if Jake Berger hits a double into the gap, Edmund Carter's probably going to score from first. So there are a lot of ways to look at it, a lot of things beyond left, right, and all that stuff. So this one looks pretty set. Now against left-handers, it's going to be a little different, and you're going to, I mean, just kind of reading the tea leaves here and trying to read between the lines. It looks like, Kevin Pillar is going to make the team and be the right-handed the right-handed hitting center fielder when a lefty starts. Maybe not every day, but but most of those days. And it sounds like Jock Peterson will sit against a lot of left-handers. So that will change things. You can Josh Smith is better, or at least last year had better numbers against left-handers. So maybe Josh Smith will be the DH. Well, he's probably not going to back cleanup. Um, uh, so what do you do with Kyle Higashioka? You can have both catchers in the lineup like we talked about yesterday, and that could very well happen on opening day. You know, um, I know everybody thinks that Jock Peterson, because he's making a lot of money and was a big acquisition, should be in that lineup opening day. But Garrett Crochet kills lefties, man. I mean, and you need to win the game. Who's that? Herm Edwards. We play to win the game. So you're gonna get a platoon. Bruce Bochy said he's going to rely on the platoons this year. So that's pretty telling right there. And you could see it in game 1. Kevin Pillar could be the starting center fielder. Don't be surprised if it happens. Okay. But they do understand that Evan Carter and Leody Taveras aren't going to get any better against left-handers, not facing left-handers. Now, again, based on what Bruce Bochy said yesterday, he was like, "Hey, I'd rather Evan Carter dominate against right-handers, and then we can use a platoon, and then he can grow into being an everyday player." So, I mean, it's starting to look cut and dried here. It really is, and um, but yeah, that lineup Tuesday, you're going to see that one a lot.
So, in the meantime, in the context of what you mentioned about Evan Carter, we've also heard lots of extremely positive feedback from Boch, from operations people, CY on down, about what a great spring Leody Taveras has had. Obviously,
Yeah,
he's another one who do you really need 2 guys who are really good against right-handed pitching as center fielders? And or conspiracy theory, I guess, a little bit here is some of that loud he's so good to entice other teams into possibly being interested in making a trade for Leody Taveras.
Well, it's certainly possible. I think right now he's one of their 13 best position players. I do. The chase rate has dropped. He's walking more this spring. He's got 4 walks, so Leone doesn't do that a lot. The at bats against lefties have been better. They haven't necessarily produced hits. He got a hit in a minor league game Tuesday against a left-hander in front of Bruce Bochy. So Bruce made sure to mention that. Um, but I think what it comes down to ultimately is, do the Rangers think Evan Carter is a better right-handed hitter than Leody Taveras? I mean, if everything's even, apples to apples, defense, they both run the bases really, really well. They both struggle against lefties. Okay, well then the equalizer is, or the deciding factor is going to be against right-handed pitchers. And Evan's going to walk more. He's going to control the strike zone better. He probably has a little bit more power and a little bit more speed. Nothing like eye popping. I mean, Leote's got 3 home runs this spring. Leote, hit a huge home run against Justin Verlander in the 23 ALDS. I mean, there's power there. So I think that's just kind of what's going to be the ultimate this deciding factor there is who's better against right-handed pitchers. Now, look, Evan Carter, there's still, I think, some concerns about him, and is he healthy? Okay, that he seems to be, but he has put up some pretty ghastly numbers. Now he's been better over the last 10 days or so. So that's kind of buoying their confidence, the Rangers' confidence in him. But I think if you were to say who's had the better camp, it's Leody Taveras.
Hmm.
But I just think the Rangers see more upside and potentially Evan, growing into getting comfortable and ultimately being the better hitter against right-handed pitchers.
Yeah, and Natalie makes a good point. You certainly, before you even considered trading Leote, you would love to make sure, as high as the upside on Evan Carter is, just make sure that Evan Carter is what we think he is, and is on that right trajectory. I mean, you've got to protect yourself.
He's got to be healthy too. I mean, this is, basically we don't know what's wrong with his back. But for now, it's a chronic condition that needs daily maintenance. And unfortunately, speaking from experience, the back is tricky, man. You can try to take care of it all you want. You can have abs of steel. That's what it is. They want you to build your core to help your back the most, and you can do it every day. You can stretch. You can do all the stuff that you need to do, but you never know. And he is still so young. The word is that he's going to outgrow what he's currently dealing with. But what happens between now and then? You don't want to leave yourself exposed in center field if something were to go wrong. So I think there are a lot of reasons to hang on to Leody Taveras. Guy's a winning player. I mean, let's get into a playoff series, and you need a pinch runner in the ninth inning to go steal a base and get in scoring position. Leone's going to do that for you. Let's say that they don't necessarily love Wyatt's defense in left field. Well, Leone's a really good defensive player. There's just a lot of things that he does well that a winning team needs. And maybe he gets traded, maybe he doesn't. But he's a good player, and he's had a good spring.
And if Evan did continue to struggle, sort of as the numbers have been throughout spring training, would the stop be, I wonder, injured list or minor leagues?
Well, he has options. There's no doubt about that. I mean, if he's healthy and they're concerned that he's not going to produce, then he should go to AAA. I mean, it's been asked here the last couple of days. It was kind of brushed aside by Bruce Bochy, which also kind of tells you their plans. But what if Evan comes in the first month he hits 140? He's going to start pressing, even as level-headed as he seems to be, and the high baseball IQ that the front office loves and all of that. The fact of the matter is what's wrong with getting him right first and then moving him into into the lineup. But maybe he is right. I haven't seen him take at bats in minor league games. He did that yesterday. Maybe he's down there going 5 for 6. I don't know, but it's what has been seen does lend itself to the question of if he's going to be ready and productive on opening day.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. We've got more to talk about with regard to this team and what's happening with them right now. We haven't gotten to the bullpen yet. So we're going to do that next. We got a few TV things to clean up. I've had some conversations to try and help ease your concerns about what's happening with the TV situation. It's all coming up. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast.
Time is dwindling here in spring training. The camp breaks on Saturday. But if you are a Rangers fan here watching this, there is an opportunity still for you to try out Waymo. Waymo is the ride-hailing service, autonomous drivers. It's kind of the wave of the future. It's only in 3 cities. Phoenix is one of them. The Rangers play it in Tempe tomorrow. So if you find yourself there at Diablo Stadium watching Nathan Eovaldi pitch and suddenly realize, hey, I've had a little bit too much to drink, or hey, I want to go try out this restaurant over here on this side of town. Hey, avail yourself to Waymo. Download the app. Again, autonomous. You punch in where you are, it pulls up, you hop in, and away you go. The wave of the future, and we really thank Waymo for their help this spring, and hope that you guys can still have time to use it.
Yeah, no doubt. And don't forget, you can go to Phoenix after spring training and use Waymo when you go then as well.
For
So,
sure.
yeah, it's only our deal with them probably ends after spring training, but Waymo will stick around for years and years to come. Also, Saturday Neon will too. In fact, Saturday Neon is getting bigger and bigger. They're going to add more colleges and universities to their lineup. They've got 50 or so of those right now, and they make neon signs that represent said colleges and universities. You really need one. Okay, so especially if your team advances, right? I know like tonight, Texas Tech plays tonight late. So if they advance, you got to get a Texas Tech neon. And especially if they make it to the next weekend, you got to get it. You got to do it no matter what your favorite team is. They make the sign for you. It's a LED neon, so it's not going to burn out. It's beautiful. SaturdayNeon.com, DLLS, 10% off. So, Jeff, the bullpen, man, we were wailing and gnashing our teeth and so worried about the bullpen. And I know last night is only one game, but last night was sort of that perfect implementation of using 3 of the new men at the back end of the bullpen, 7th, 8th, and 9th, and they were all great.
Yeah, I'm very bullish on Luke Jackson. I think that he has a chance to really be a good, a very good reliever, maybe the closer. He pitched yesterday. He his fastball has characteristics that really uh, are good at the top of the strike zone. So he pitches up there. He strikes out a lot of right-handed hitters, despite only having a 94, 95 velocity. He's working on a cutter. There are just a lot of things that he's doing. Not that Chris Martin doesn't strike out guys. He does. They are different pitchers, though. Chris Martin is more of a spin guy. He throws 4 different pitches. You don't see that a lot from a closer
No.
or even a late inning reliever. The track record's really spectacular since he came back from Japan. He's been one of the best right-handed setup guys in the American League. Uh, Really the last 4 or 5 years. So you feel good about both of those guys. Jacob Webb pitched yesterday, gave up a home run. Didn't seem too concerned about it. Those 3 seem pretty solid. Then you get into Hobie Milner, who really hasn't had much of a clean slate, really a clean outing. Sean Armstrong hasn't really had a clean outing. Robert Garcia, big stuff, but he had the elbow setback kind of at the start of camp. but it looks like he's going to be in that mix with Webb, Jackson, and Martin. And maybe he does get some save opportunities. If there are a bunch of lefties coming, if a team's left-handed heavy, well, you might want to see him in the ninth inning to protect the lead. So anyway, there four guys you feel good about, two guys you kind of wonder about, and then the last two spots will be dictated by who doesn't make the rotation. They need to be multiple inning guys who are capable of throwing multiple innings, which is important with DeGrom's uncertainty on his workload, Molly's uncertainty. How strongly do you feel about Jack Leiter pitching into the sixth or seventh inning? And then whoever the extra starter is, you may not feel so good about him too. So we'll see. I mean, it's a pretty big deal, these last two spots. I think, I think Adrian Hauser and Patrick Murphy are on the team in some shape or form, whether they're a starter or whether they're a reliever. I would think Hauser, just based on the experience, would be very hard to turn away at this point. He didn't have a good year last year at the Mets. All right, we get that, but he's been durable with the Brewers. He throws ground balls. He throws a lot of strikes. He knows how to pitch, and I just really feel like he's the guy. But then tonight, Kumar Rocker is pitching. What if Kumar Rocker comes out and throws five scoreless innings? Are the Rangers suddenly going to be incredibly bullish on him and be like, "That's our guy"? I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of like maybe it's an Evan Carter situation. Maybe he shows a flash, but do you get too caught up in it? Are you sure he's ready? And that's the question that needs to be answered. To date, it looks like he's not ready. I know the Rangers want him in the rotation, just like they want Evan Carter in center field. They want everything to be great. But why force it? Let him go down. There's no need. It's not like he's got 150 career starts. He has three career starts. You know, if he ends up at AAA, that's fine. Bring him when he's ready. There's a chance that maybe Jack Leiter falters, or maybe Patrick Corbin when he gets in there, and maybe he's just awful, and it becomes time for an upgrade in the rotation. There are ways to do this. Kumar Rocker is going to pitch a lot for the Rangers this year, but it may not just be in the first time through the rotation.
So even with Patrick Corbin's uncertainty, I mean, it's pretty certain he won't be ready to start the season with the major league team, since they won't even see him until next week. But so let's assume he can't answer the bell and start for the Rangers on opening day. He'll need a couple of starts at AAA. Even under that scenario, could you see Kumar Rocker being sent to AAA?
Yeah, the Rangers want the 13 best pitchers that they have. And I don't think Kumar Rocker's been one of the 13 best. Honestly, yeah, I mean, Mark Church has been one of the 13 best, but he's probably going to go to AAA to start the year because they don't want to put him into, put a heavy workload on him after he missed a lot of last year, and hasn't gone back to back in his career at all. He did it last spring. That was the only time that he's ever done that. So there are things that they want Mark Church to build up to. Um, and honestly, is there a spot for Mark Church if you have six guys who are guaranteed to be on the team based on the offseason acquisitions? Um, Gosh, I don't know. Anyway, I think the Rangers would be fine if Kumar Rocker started in AAA. Uh, he now again, maybe he knocks their socks off tonight, and maybe he pitches in that Tuesday game also at Kansas City and just blows away the Royals hitters. Then maybe they have a decision to make. But I think right now at least in my estimation, I don't think he's done enough to make the team.
Okay, so continuing that line of thought, so Corbin's not ready, Rocker's not on the team. Let's say Hauser and Murphy are. Now, basically, you're looking at one spot, right? Who fills that?
Well, you're assuming Leiter's in the rotation. I
Yes,
think
I
Dane
am.
Dunning
Yes, I
will
am.
be.
Yep.
Dane Dunning will be the other guy in the
Okay.
bullpen. He has options. He hasn't pitched great either this spring, but the know-how and the recent memory and piggybacking and bouncing back and forth between the rotation and the bullpen, I think he's able to do that. So I think he'll make the club. Um, you know, Now when you add Hauser and Murphy, and if you add Pilar, you're looking at three guys you have to add to the 40-man roster. So, one will be Jose Corniel going to the 60. So there's one spot. Maybe Bradford is the second guy to the 60 to open another spot, but then you got to lose a player, and you could do it with a trade, maybe there's a late spring trade, but more than likely you're going to end up putting a guy on waivers who's pretty good. So we'll see how it plays out. There's going to be some tough decisions ahead, not just on who makes the team, but what happens to create room on the 40 man. If the Rangers don't want to lose one of their guys on the 40 man, well, then they'll find a way to go with somebody on the 40 man over Murphy or Hauser.
Yeah, it's interesting, too, when we talk about this bullpen. I felt like, and I'll be interested to see the interview you've got with Ross Fenstermaker coming up on the weekly show, Jeff, because I felt like before spring training, CY, Ross, they were sitting right here in the studio talking on this show, and even Boach. I felt like we're going to be fine. Bullpen's going to be fine. Bullpen's going to be fine. And I almost felt like they were doing it with their fingers crossed. Like, we hope. I mean, right?
Yeah.
But again, it's only spring training, but it appears that their hope is coming to fruition.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't and never have spent a ton of money on the bullpen.
Right.
Jacob Webb signed for like $1.25 million. I mean, obviously that's a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, that's nothing. You know, uh, but they identified him because they liked his changeup. They liked the way this right-handed pitcher, how he does against left-handers, and the Rangers struggled in that last year. Robert Garcia, they got him targeting him in a trade for Nathaniel Lowe. So you trade a guy who won a Silver Slugger and a Gold Glove, and all you get back, well, you get some salary relief, but all you get back is a left-handed reliever with a lot of club control. Well, the Rangers like his potential and what he brings. Uh, so you can have this idea based on what the scouts say and what the analytics say, but execution has to take place. These guys have to go out and execute, and if they do that, then yeah, if everything goes to fruition and they perform as they have in the past, execute like they know how with the pitches that work for them, then sure, the Rangers feel good about their group. I think they feel great about Mark Church. I just as soon as Mark Church, they deem him ready, he's going to come up, and there's going to be another quote unquote tough decision made. But Mark Church could be this team's closer in the future. You may not want to thrust that upon him right as he comes into the major leagues. He still has one career appearance, but it's that kind of stuff with his fastball, his slider, and now a split finger pitch. The guy just has got it, and he's young, he's athletic. All these great things that make a pitcher great, Mark Church has. So when midseason rolls around, I know Josh Sborz will be coming back, and maybe Emiliano Teodo does some good things and makes himself hard to keep off the major league roster. This bullpen could look a lot different, and throw in the trade deadline too. But you know what? That happens every year. Every year, a bullpen on opening day looks nothing like it. At the end of the season, looks nothing like it did on opening day.
Yeah, it happens a lot, especially here. No doubt about that. Now, Kelly Man with a question to prompt this next little conversation. Is Spectrum working this morning? He asks, and I don't think so. I don't think you're going to be able to watch the game tonight on Spectrum. This is the word I've heard from people that I talked to within the Rangers broadcasting group. I don't know why. I really don't. And look, I've been in TV for 40 years, and it seems like all they have to do is flip a switch or a few keystrokes on the computer to say, "Oh yeah, Spectrum TV now has RSN." And I don't know if somebody forgets or what, or maybe it's just a hell of a lot harder than I think it is. Same thing with DirecTV. Talked to several people who, like me, couldn't find channel 677 or it didn't have the Rangers on it. And in fact, one of them was Mike Bassick's mom. And Linda, the great Linda Bassick, was sitting at home just cycling through things. And she said ultimately she found the Rangers game the other night, Tuesday night, on 676-7. Now, it's supposed to be on 677. I've checked with everybody over there at the website that ends in TuneIn. That's where it's supposed to be. It's going to be. I can assure you of this. I know after all these years of Bally and everything else, it is frustrating if you go, cool, I got it on Spectrum now, and you turn it on Spectrum and you can't watch it. I can't even imagine how frustrating. It's going to be there. It's just, I don't know. I can't even explain. I'm sure they can't even explain how it is that Spectrum can't, get that turned around in this amount of time. But it should be for the regular season. But I don't think you're going to get tonight's game, from what I understand. It'll be after that. And, of course, the 33 games that are left, the Channel 33 games, you will get those. And they're all available every single night on Victory Plus, which may just make you want to spend that $100. They're going to be there with the pre, post, and everything on. And that was the other thing, because when I watched the game on Fubo Tuesday night, I couldn't see the pre and post game show was not there. They were running MLB programming, and nobody could really know exactly why that was happening, but everybody's understanding is the only one that cleared pre and post game 100% on Tuesday night was Victory. So spend the 100. What the heck, Go get it. Stream it. It's certainly an option, and it's nice to know. It's really nice to know that you have an option, which I know in the Bally world you did not have an option. So. There's your update on that. We've got more coming up as we get to our cleanup segment. We're going to talk about we're going to talk about a few things happening within the Rangers division, most of which I think you'll like. One of them I think you'll love. That's next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. But this lovely Texas Chew shirt, this is just a teaser for the baseball shirts that are coming, because we've seen the designs. We told you this yesterday. Some really cool baseball shirts coming from DLLS that you're going to want. But in the short term, they're not available. So you should get this one because this is a cool eye-catching shirt. It reps DLLS, although quite small, and it reps Rangers baseball with the bubble gum and the Texas Chew. Store.allcitynetwork.com is the place to go to get your merchandise from our great network, and there's lots more than just baseball shirts. You got basketball, you've got the Dallas Wings as well as the Dallas Mavericks. Stars stuff, they're going to be so good in the playoffs, it appears, this year. There's Cowboys stuff there, as always. There's the hoodies. There's the new March Madness line of clothing that's out there right now. So go to store.allcitynetwork.com and get yourself some of our merchandise today.
Yeah, I'm not wearing merch today. I
It's a
have one
good-looking
more
shirt,
shirt.
though. That's a
It
good-looking
is a good
shirt.
looking shirt. I have one more t-shirt ready to go for the last 2 days of camp. I won't wear it both days. I'll have to pick one. But anyway, you get free shirts when you become a diehard member, and we tell you this every show how important it is to be a diehard. You get my stuff that's behind the paywall, but not just Ranger stuff. Cowboys, Stars, Mavs, everything else we're going to be covering in the future will you'll have access to all of it, and it's such good stuff. Veteran reporters, I've been covering the Rangers for 18 years. Clarence Hill's been covering the Cowboys for like 1,000 years. I mean, he has been covering them for a long, long time. Tim Cato, same thing, double-digit years with the Mavs, and Sam over there with the Stars. While this is the first year covering the Stars, he's been covering NHL teams for a while now. So, 79.99 free T-shirt, 20% off all events, including our golf tournament coming up April 25th. So just do it. Become a diehard today.
Yeah, that golf tournament's over at Stevens Park. That's going to be a heck of a deal. That's kind of when Bassick and I have played over the years. That's kind of our home course. So I think if you
Okay.
haven't played that course, they call it the Augusta of Texas, and it's not quite that pretty, but it's pretty. It's a pretty course, and there's one hole on the back nine, man. You come around on the cart path and you look right over there, and there's the whole skyline of Dallas. You're high on a hill overlooking the skyline. Really, really nice views. So make sure you sign up for our golf tournament. And if you are a diehard, get yourself 20% off. I'd like to see you do that. All right, so cleaning things up here, Jeff. The first one, this doesn't surprise us a bit. We talked about old school Bruce Bochy in the last segment. Let's talk about old school Ron Washington, who has banned cell phones from players at their locker, Jeff. Can you imagine? First of all, so many times, I believe the cell phone is simply a distraction as a player sees one of us media types walking towards him. He's like, oh yeah, right. He grabs the phone and he's talking. But anyway, no cell phones.
Yeah, I am when I first started the beat, and John, you can surely relate to this. Well, hell, when you started, there weren't cell phones, but
No.
uh, you know, guys leave the clubhouse to talk on the phone. They do not
Yeah.
talk on the phone in the clubhouse. Now they do play games, they watch videos. Speaking on the Rangers side here, even the media has their phones and are able to look at things on the phone. I try to leave the clubhouse, and like if my phone rings, I walk out or I clear the call. It's just kind of it is an old school thing, I guess, but good for Wash. Hey, if you want to use your phone, leave the clubhouse. But that's the way it was for a long time, and it recently changed. That's old school Wash for you, baby. Focus on the task at hand, get your work done, be ready to go out and practice hard and get better.
Yeah, and so far, Mike Trout and others have weighed in saying it's going great. And I think that in some ways, Gallagher Champ says she loves Wash, but treat the players like adults. I think in some ways, though, it's almost like saving said adults from themselves, right? It's like, well, nothing to do right now. Let me surf on my phone. And instead of that, you can go bond with a teammate or go play a game with the teammate or do the ping pong thing or whatever it might be. That's the kind of thing he's trying to promote in there, so you don't have 25 or 26 individuals, but you build a team.
Yeah, and this time of year, do you really want players who are on the bubble checking Twitter? Maybe news breaks before Wash has a chance to deliver it to them. Good or bad. So I'm fine with it. And again, it dates back a while when phones became prevalent, cell phones became prevalent. You saw nobody, and to this day, you still rarely see anybody talking on the phone. And if it is, it's like they're in a conversation that started outside the clubhouse. They need something in their lockers. They walk in, they grab like, I don't know, their wallet to, purchase something, and then walk right back out. So it's a little bit different, I guess, because there appears to be no phone usage at all, but it's not that unusual.
No,
And
not at
then
all. And
if you
to
go
your
back a
point,
few years, yeah.
Jeff, about media and having phones in there. I remember when we first started having phones all the time, man. It was if one of our phones interrupted an interview or that type of thing, man, it was really, really frowned upon. You better figure out how to
Oh
get
yeah,
that thing on silent because back
still
in the
is.
day, yeah, it really is, and it should be.
Yeah,
It should be.
right, right. My ringer is always off. It's on vibrate.
Yeah,
That's the
mine
first
too.
thing I do when I get a new phone. I put it on vibrate.
Yeah,
So
same here.
yeah.
All right, let's talk about another team in the division. So there's the Angels. Let's talk Astros. They have a new City Connect uniform this year. You know, they do these in alternating 3-year cycles. And, of course, the Rangers will get a new City Connect next year after the Peagle and all that, is retired. This is the new Astros one, Jeff. And I swear, I'm usually not a fan of City Connect uniforms. Man, I think this one is great. I think this is almost as good a uniform as their this was 1979 or whatever, 78, but the stripe one that they had that caught everybody's attention somewhat. Look at that thing. Now, I did hear criticism that the A on the Astros hat looks like the A from UTA, and then whoever posted that also said whenever the Astros are playing in town here, they'll be the second best team wearing that cap. So I like that, because the Mavs usually have some pretty good baseball over there too.
Yeah, I have a confession. I've always liked the Astros uniforms. I think the color combination works for me with the blue and the orange. I like a clean uniform like that. A lot of these City Connects, like the Mariners, they have a royal blue top, which harkens back to their old days, which is fine. But why do you wear black pants with it? It looks crappy, you know.
Right.
And I don't like how like Boston has strayed away from the red altogether. And I know maybe it pays homage to what the marathon and the yellow, but stick with your colors. Don't go too crazy. Miami can go crazy. San Diego can go crazy because they're on the beach. I'm cool with that. I like Arizona's City Connects. That hat with the A, okay, UTA, but also kind of reminded me of an old Diamondbacks hat, maybe.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I think the Reno Aces have a hat like that. So I would have liked to have seen something different with the hat.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I disagree with you about even San Diego and Miami, and certainly Boston. Those bright color uniform patterns to me, and I mean, like you say, I guess I can get my brain around it at least near the beach. But man, the yellow in Boston, give me a break. That just couldn't look worse to me. And I'm still, even though I generally like the whole Rangers City Connect uniform that they have and wear on Fridays at home, and have for the last 2 years and will this year, I presume. I'm still not a huge fan of the off-color pants there, Jeff. The navy blue pants I really do like the logo and everything and the color of the home, uniform top. But I'm still not completely sold on the blue pants. So to your point about the black pants in Seattle.
Yeah, and again, I guess the thing with the Rangers is everybody thought, well, those are black pants,
Yeah,
but they're like the darkest possible blue that isn't black.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, keep the pants white and gray, all right?
yeah.
Let's or the same color as the jersey. A cream would look great. Cream on cream is awesome. I love
I'm a
that.
fan.
I love that in a uniform. Yeah.
I'm a fan of cream. All right, now let's go stay in the division and go to Seattle, where they have a new workout regimen happening at camp. These trainers and the strength guys are so creative. And in Seattle, they now have a new regimen for working out and getting ready for games. It's called Goat Yoga. Take a look.
Where y'all going? Goat yoga.
Goat yoga. Where are the goats?
No goats. Goat.
Let's begin.
What tarnation?
Junior! Come on.
That is fantastic. First of all, they've had a pretty good junior in that clubhouse before.
Right.
Ken Griffey Jr., but all and by the way, was a teammate of Ichiro's. But what a I think just an inspired spot to have the GOAT. And how good does he look?
He still works out with the team and does all kinds of stuff. He may have retired, but he's still just ridiculously in shape. The Mariners are great with those. They took a couple years off from doing them, and they returned either last year or the year before. They've always had these great preseason commercials, just like that. They're all funny. They shoot them over at the Peoria Sports Complex, or they have spring training. So the Mariners do a great job with that. Also, the Mariners are the best in the league with national anthems. They bring out great singers. Just their national anthems never miss.
That's interesting. I hadn't noticed that, and I've been to many series up there in Seattle, but I'll have to keep an eye for that next time I'm up that way. I do love the. I mean, literally, like it's almost like they were actors in the little commercial spot. Like, I don't know if they get a good director who's in there, Jeff, and he's directing these guys on sort of their motivation here or whatever. But it really was. It was high quality stuff.
Yeah, and it's pretty big name guys there. It's not like they're just
Right.
pulling off the minor leaguers. I mean, those are the stars of the team who are in that spot, acting, probably getting a little out of their comfort zone, but having fun with it. And then, to convince Ichiro, who's going into the Hall of Fame this summer, to do that. That's a pretty good one. That's good on them.
Yeah, and anytime you're working with animals, Jeff, kids are animals. That's
right.
Not easy. You got to be
not easy.
You got to be.
How do you train a goat?
Yeah, you got to be very careful with kids and animals. Love this story. This is not in division, but the St. Louis Cardinals player Jose Fermin has revealed that he did something. Trained, grew up training, doing something that Jeff. I think it was. Was it Beltre, one of our Dominican-born players, or maybe anyway? He hit when he was starting at 6 or 7 years old. His dad would pitch him corn kernels, and he was supposed to hit them with a sawed-off broomstick. And it might have been Robinson Chirinos. Do you remember? Did somebody tell you this story too? That they used to do that.
It definitely sounds familiar. I just can't put the name.
I'm pretty
sure, but yes,
I'm pretty sure that trip we made to see the Dominican and AB wasn't there, was he? His parents were there.
No,
so maybe it was Robbie. Somebody down there, or I don't know. Anyway, somebody down there told me they grew up hitting, kernels, like little kernels of corn with a broomstick. But how great is that for your hand-eye coordination? And Fermin says that his dad would then get tricky, because he'd get good at it. He'd get in a rhythm, as hitters will do, and he'd hit the corn kernel every time. So his dad starts throwing, curve kernels and stuff.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah.
Well, good for them. Maybe I need to try that with Henry. Yeah.
Don't try this at home. I mean, that could be very difficult. But anyway, it is. That's just one of the ways you try and train yourself as a youngster to get ready, and it does speak to. And they did it every day, Fermin says, and it speaks to how important this game is to the culture in the Dominican Republic. So anyway, if you want your kid to be great, maybe you don't need select baseball, just some corn kernels and a broomstick. Try that.
Perfect. Everybody
Jeff,
has them.
So night game tonight, right?
Yes.
And who do we have on the mound? Oh, you said we have Rocker.
Kumar Rocker. Rocker will be starting tonight. So big one.
Yeah, it is. It's a big opportunity for Kumar. As we mentioned at the top of the show, it is time for the fine tuning. So several guys will be doing what they can to get, sort of their final, licks in on the old guitar, on the old baseball guitar, and see if they can make this club and see if they can create a spot for themselves as we get ready to break camp later on this week. That is going to do it for us on this day for the DLLS Rangers podcast. We appreciate you joining us as always. And we will be back again tomorrow to bring you another edition of the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.